Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for coming back down to Brian's basement. Today was another very special discussion. I was gonna try and do a review of this game, but then I kind of like decided against it just because I think it's more important for me just to talk about the things that are special and important to me about this game. The game being Shenmue 2 for the Dreamcast, baby. This is actually the first time I've played Shenmue 2 on Dreamcast. I've normally played it on Xbox. Growing up, I didn't have access to like importing. I mean, I had the internet, but I was a kid, so my parents wouldn't let me like use their credit card to import a game off the internet. I couldn't even use eBay at the time. So I basically wasn't able to experience this until recently, until this playthrough. I got it a couple years back. I've had it for a little bit, but you know how it goes. So, just going back and my memories about Shenmue 2, I know I touched on this in the previous video. I got Shenmue 2 when it came out for Xbox and played through it a little bit, never beat it, but like then, came back and fell in love with the series again a little bit later, as I kind of went over in my previous Shenmue video. Check that out if you haven't already. But so I really had never experienced the game on Dreamcast. I've never heard Ryo talk in Japanese, and I was a little like concerned in the beginning because I thought it might lose some of the spirit, but man was I wrong. Man was I wrong. Ryo is still Ryo, and Shenmue 2 is as good as it's ever gonna get on Dreamcast. I mean, like, it's just such an awesome game from the beginning when you get off the boat to the interactions that you have in the harbor.
すいません。
にーはお。ご飯食べた？
食べたけど。
違う。今のは香港の挨拶よ。
へえ、そうなのか。聞きたいことがあるんだけど。
それってもしかしてこの辺のこと？
ええ、まあ。
ワンチャイに来たばかりだからこの辺のことはよくわかんないの。
そうか。
ごめんね。その辺のお店の人に聞いてみて。
And just like, getting your bag stolen by Wong, it just starts off with such a bang. And this time, since I was coming off Shenmue 1, I was real fresh with the QTE, I was fresh with the fighting and everything. I kind of just was in the zone. So like, it really made it like, I was just nailing QTE segments. That like, the first one where you have to chase Wong, and it's like, it's a pretty aggressive QTE segment. There's a lot of moves and a lot of quick time events, and but yeah, it's a really like, that game is just, there's just something really awesome about it. It's like, it's hard to believe that it could be better than 1, but I think in a lot of ways it is. Like, they really polished so much stuff, and it's just such a expansive game. I mean, when you're in Hong Kong, the game just feels so big. Like, I mean, even when you get a feel for navigating those streets and where everything goes and you have all the maps, it still is like a pretty expansive world, and it just feels so much bigger than Shenmue 1. I mean, Shenmue 1 feels like a slice of Shenmue 2, but no disrespect to Shenmue 1. And as I said in the previous video, I feel like it was all originally intended to be one game, and then the monetary aspect came about, where if you don't know, Shenmue cost like 88 million, references in my previous video, and that was the most expensive game at the time. It also meant that they would have had to sell like 2 copies of Shenmue to every Dreamcast owner, 100% adoption, for them to like break even, which is, I mean, it's unrealistic at best. So moving on, so you get Shenmue 2, which comes out, about a year later. So I mean, that also kind of tells me that the game was pretty much finished and it just was separated into 2 games. Although I can't imagine having a freaking 7-disc game ever ship. I mean, I could be wrong, maybe they would, but Shenmue, the 7-disc saga in initial shipping, I just couldn't see it. So it makes sense why they did it the way they did. But anyways, enough about that, because I've harped on that stuff a bunch in the previous video. I want to talk about Shenmue 2 and why I love it so much. Shenmue 2 is just like, it's so polished. Like, it's just, everything in there is just, it's just done to such a thoughtful and just well-planned degree, I believe. Like, I think it's cool how this game, you can really play it however you want in a lot of ways. For example, with Fang Mei's birthday event, and like speaking with her and interacting with her, because I've never actually been nice to Fang Mei and tried to get on her good side. So I was like actively trying to talk to her and finding her and going out of my way to do all this stuff this time, and I almost didn't get the event. I had to load a save and, you know, get beat up in Manmo Park so I would be on Fan Mei's good side, and then I was able to talk to the redheaded girl. I can't remember her name. Eileen, and she tells you that it's Fang Mei's birthday tomorrow on March 2nd, and then, or on March 1st, and then on March 2nd, you see Fang Mei window shopping the day before her birthday, and then you can go buy this brooch that she wants. So I almost wasn't able to do that, and I was like working really hard to accomplish that, and it was just like, and I just really like that about this game. I've played it probably like 10 times. I've probably beaten it 5 to 7, but you know, like deep sessions of playing through the game 10 times since it came out, I'd say. And you know, and on this playthrough, it felt completely new and completely different, and just like, just so much fun for a lot of reasons. Playing on the Dreamcast for the first time, I was streaming it on Twitch, which was kind of cool. I got to like interact with a lot of interesting people that were fun to talk to, other Shenmue fans, which is always cool. And then another thing that just really made it unique was those side quests. Like, the only other side quest that I had done is the fight in the arcade, and holy shit, that is so hard on Dreamcast. I don't know if it's harder on Dreamcast than it is on Xbox, but like, I think it took me like 5 hours, and I spent close to $1,000 Hong Kong dollars trying to beat her, Itsumi. But I was able to beat her, and when I beat her, it was like the most glorious thing ever. I was just like, ah, yeah! And it was just like awesome. It was so cool. Like, just to be able to beat that, and because it was difficult, and you had to like master moves and keep hitting her with moves. If you don't use moves on her, I don't know how you can beat her. I guess you just dodge her a lot. But like, I was getting to the point where I was just hitting her with this one move and doing the freaking QTE where you have to hit the buttons. I believe it's A and X and Y and B, like that. It's hard to time it and get it, and it's just like, it's just awesome. It just was so much fun winning that, getting the birthday event, getting those extra 2, like, you know, side quests accomplished that I hadn't ever really done, and then like, you know, finishing the game. And then after I like spent hours trying to beat Itsumi, my moves were so leveled up, and like I was so proficient at doing certain moves that I could just like kick people's asses. Like when I got to Don Yu at the end, I've never had an easier time beating it. It was like the QTE was the hardest part, which usually is the case, but like usually I have a harder time with the fight, and I was just like dodging, hitting, you know, it was just natural. And even now when I'm playing Shenmue 3, which I must say the fighting system just isn't as good as it was in Shenmue 2, but even still, my skills have kind of carried over, and like I just love that about Shenmue 2 is it's like it's a good fighting game. Like, it really is a good fighting game. It's like got like so much of that Virtua Fighter blood in it, and there's so many moves. It's just like, it's awesome. Because like when you play Virtua Fighter, each character has like what, 8 moves. Ryo has like freaking like, it's like, I don't even know, 60, maybe like 60 to 100 moves. I mean, you're never gonna master them all. You could if you took a lot of time, but it's like, it's just cool that like there's so many different ways to, you know, make Rio stronger. And I never ever did that. I would play through the game and just literally win the fights just through sheer determination, and never like actually like go to Jianming, spar with him, level up moves that way. I would always load the fight on Xbox, so I didn't have to spend the money, so I wasn't ever getting the experience. On Dreamcast, there is no load function. You have to like soft reset. So, but like, you know, just stuff like that. Just such a unique game with like RPG fighting game. I mean, it really is like that. And like I was saying before, like every other time I've played Shenmue and Shenmue 2, I have completely neglected training the moves. And this time around, I started training moves later in Shenmue 1, but really started training moves in Shenmue 2 because I kept losing that fight for 4 or 5 hours, $1,000 later. Luckily, you can go to the docks and gamble really cheaply. So I just love that, like, there was a facet of the game, which is like a really important facet, that I completely missed and just kind of caught up on when I was playing it this time. And I'm really happy because I'm never going to play the game like I did before, because leveling up your moves is totally the way to go, because it makes it so much easier because Rio is so much stronger. So they've really like focused on that in 3, like they make you do that. But I like how like in 2 and 1 it was like an option. You could just kind of get through the game without getting stronger if you wanted to. I mean, it's possible. It's 100% possible to beat the game like that. So it's just cool. It's just really nice how they, like, I feel like they made the game very accessible. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong there, but I feel like this game is just very easy to pick up and play and enjoy and kind of figure out. Now, I mean, me being a super fan, maybe that's a little bit slighted, that statement. You know, I might have a little bit of bias, but I really do think this is a great game. And along with Shenmue 1, I think that like somehow they topped it. I don't know how they did it, but they topped Shenmue 1 with Shenmue 2. It's like the action movies where the sequel is better than the original. So, I mean, but to be fair, you can't have the sequel without the original. So, I mean, this game, there's just so many great aspects. Like I was just touching on the gambling. I love going to the docks and just gambling, saving, reloading your save. Just get as much money as you need and then not have to worry about money. It's like nice that they make gambling pretty easy in that one. I like how you're just gambling money and you're not like, you don't have to do this prize exchange thing like you have to do in 3. One last thing I want to touch on is I was really impressed this time going through the end of the game, having just started Shenmue 3 before I started 1 and 2. I had it fresh in my head of like what Guilin looked like and Bailu Village and all that stuff. So going back in Shenmue 2, it's really, really cool how much of a one-to-one the details are from Shenmue 2 to Shenmue 3. It really looks, I mean, like Bailu and Guilin look very similar. I mean, like it has a very similar feel. So I think it's cool how they paid attention to that old body of work and made sure that everything's, you know, kind of in line with each other. So, you know, I really love this game, and it's so much fun. I just enjoy it so much, and you know, there's never gonna be another Shenmue 1 and 2. I playing through it at this stage, and you know, where I've had a lot of time to think about Shenmue and where it could go and what it could do, and I just, you know, I touched on this in the previous video and the previous Shenmue video, and you know, Shenmue, Shenmue is just a very interesting game because Sega really poured it all out into Shenmue. I mean, they pulled out all the stops and just let the developers make something that they thought was going to be the next huge cutting edge thing. And, you know, it's sad that it cost, oh, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. It costs so much money, and possibly the amount of money that it cost could have meant that it was doomed to fail from the start, because how are you going to have a 100% adoption rate with a game, and 100% adoption rate twice with a game to break even? It's just not feasible. But at the same time, on that same token, I mean, that's why this game is so awesome. Why Shenmue 1 and 2 are so awesome. Because they were allowed to just follow their dreams and just create something that had never been done before. Something groundbreaking, something original, something to this day that hasn't ever really been recreated. I mean, so I just really think this is such an important game, and it's I hate to say this, but I really feel this way. It's number one, the story's never going to be finished. We're never getting more games, I don't think. I don't think we're getting more than Shenmue 3, personally. And I'll tell you why I think that. I don't think Yu Suzuki, A, has a plan for where the full story is going to go, and B, I don't think he's really in it anymore. I think that 3 was a gift to us, the fans. I'm a little upset that he didn't do more with the story in 3, but more on 3 when I make that video. But, you know, I just think that those conditions that created Shenmue 1 and 2, we'll never have those conditions again. We'll never have the conditions where a company is willing to pour that much money and resources into the development of something unknown. And, I mean, it's just never going to be the same. I mean, you look at Shenmue 3. I mean, it's cool. It's got the essence of Shenmue, but, like, just the polish that was on 1 and 2, the polish that's there that's why it cost $88 or $90 million. So, I mean, they're never going to get that level of funding again. And I don't know. It would be nice if it was finished in some form. I don't even care if it was like, I know they were talking about doing a Telltale just to finish the story where, you know, I'd be fine with that. Just give me like a freaking story and have me do QTE. And that's it. Or I don't know. I would be disappointed with that. Everyone's gonna be disappointed with everything. That's the problem. That's the problem with this series. No one will ever be happy. You can't make everyone happy. No one's ever gonna be happy. I mean, some people might be happy just because we're getting it, and I'm part of that group. But I just, like, to give you an example, and I said this in the other video. You know, Death Stranding was released right before Shenmue 3. And Hideo and Kojima Productions are working on Death Stranding 2 now. So, I mean, there's nothing about Shenmue 4. There's no discussions, there's no announcements. I know there was like some rumor about Deep Silver. You know, Deep Silver, the company who I think they produced 3. I don't know, but there have been rumors about stuff, but nothing's really materialized. We don't have anything, and I just I don't know. I think the goodwill that Yu Suzuki had with the fans, I think he squandered it a little bit. Now, do I think Shenmue 3 could have turned out any differently? Probably not. I don't even think, and I know it's the biggest Kickstarter of all time, fastest funded Kickstarter of all time, but like, you gotta look at it. $6 million is a drop in the bucket compared to what Yu Suzuki was used to. And I don't think, this is just me looking in from the outside and guessing, I don't think there was great, like, you know, project management on Shenmue 3, and I don't know. I just don't think that there's enough interest anymore for them to make a fourth one. I mean, beyond the core group of fans, but I don't think that the game would I just don't think it would sell. I don't think that, and I think that the blemish that it left on Sega, I think there's someone high up in Sega there who remembers Shenmue and remembers it almost taking down the company. I don't think it's the pure reason why Sega had all the faults they did. It's a lot more complicated than that. I mean, the fall of the arcades, they had all that arcade money coming in that kind of dried up. The blunders on Dreamcast, you know, there was a lot. You know, the development, the voids between Sega of America and Sega of Japan, you know, like the development of the 32X. There's a lot of factors, and I mean, it could be like a master's thesis. You know, I think that I don't think it's a stretch to say that there could be a CEO at Sega who looks at Shenmue and sees it as just a massive failure, because they were there back then and they saw, you know, what happened when they put all those resources into it and, you know, kind of didn't get back the investment. So I know I kind of rambled on there a lot, but to boil it all down, I just don't think, I think the time may have passed. I think that if had the game done better on the Xbox and sold more on the Xbox, maybe Microsoft would have picked it up or worked with Sega to develop a third one and finish off the series. I think that in some alternate reality that could have maybe happened. And I think that's really the only way I see this being completed. I think that the time and to even harp on this a little bit more, I think that the window for them to make the fourth, fifth, whatever, however many more they're going to make is closing, because you made all of these assets, you created all of this for 3, and those graphics are slowly becoming more and more out of date, and all of that stuff is just going to become junk in the next 5 years with all the developments in technology and graphics and how things look. So they're basically going to have to start from scratch again if they make another game, and I just don't see anyone wanting to fund that. So we'll see. I mean, I would love to be proved wrong, but I think that that's the cruel reality of Shenmue, is that nobody's really wants to take that risk again. So, bit of a bummer, but it is what it is. And I always get kind of sad when I beat Shenmue 2. I'm playing 3 now, so I have that, and it's just not the same. It's just not the same. And it's just sad to think about what could have been, you know? Ryo should be, like, next to Sonic, as Sega's one of, like, Sega's mascots. But he's just, like, you know, drop in the bucket. He was in that, if you watch the Sonic movie, they have a big collage before the movie starts, and it shows little boxes of all the games, and you can find Leo's in there, Shenmue's in there. So it's like Burning Rangers and freaking Panzer Dragoon Saga, but that's what I'm saying. Ryo is, you know, I don't know. He's I just don't want him to be forgotten. I don't think you will, because, you know, you had the anime, but, like, even that with the Warner merger is on ice. So I just feel like we're going to have another long drought of Shenmue content, and that's a shame. That's a real shame. So, you know, I love this game. I wish I could be just like more positive about about how, and hopeful about how I think things are going to be, but having so much time to think about it and going back and playing 3 again and seeing what they were able to accomplish with that, and they had all the goodwill in the world and just everything going for them, and I don't know, I can see why people were disappointed. So, but there is nothing to be disappointed about this, because this is a freaking masterpiece. Shenmue 2, masterpiece. Amazing. Every time I play it, I find something new. It's like, it's such a great game, and there's just so much to be had here. And I just love this game. I really do. I just feel it's such a beautiful world. The graphics are so crisp, and the last time I played it on my HDMI modded Dreamcast, and now I played it on my Wega CRT, and dude, I don't even know, I think it looked better on the Wega. I don't even know why I've gone through all the trouble of modding stuff. It's like modding stuff, buying SCART cables, trying to get the best picture out of everything, when the best picture is just on my 30-year-old TV upstairs. But that's just the way it goes sometimes, you know. Plus, it's the experience. That's how I played it on a CRT back in the day, so when I played it on Xbox. So playing it on a CRT again, just, it only feels right. So I love this game. This game is just, it's one of my favorite games of all time, and I think somehow they managed to make it better than the first one. It's got a lot of the same elements of the first one, but I think it's really streamlined. I like how they, at first I was disappointed they got rid of the training, but I kind of like how it's all based on fights, because there's so many more opportunities to get into fights in this one. So you really can like hone your skills by just fighting a lot. And like, it's cool how that's how you level up. Like, it makes freaking sense. It's really just like, it's thoughtful, and they don't spoon feed you shit. Like, you just have to figure it out, and it's just, it's awesome. They don't do that anymore. I like how they don't assume you're an idiot. Like, now everything has to be like told to you in a game and shown to you through some tutorial. Like, you had the manual back then, and if you want to learn shit, go read the manual, otherwise figure it out. And there's something beautiful about that. So I just, you know, I think I just have a lot of nostalgia for this game. I have a lot of nostalgia for the time that it came out, and I don't know if it's going to be possible to recreate that environment and feelings that were around when they created this. And I think that's why Shenmue 1 and 2 are so special, and will never really ever be able to be recreated. And even if they are finished, it's just not going to be the same as Shenmue 1 and 2. And don't get me wrong, I want this shit to be finished, but I'm just wary, man. I'm wary that there isn't much of a drive there from Yu Suzuki, and I could be wrong, but I just don't know. And on that note, I think we're gonna close out this video. So thank you so much for coming back to Brian's Basement, coming down here and talking with me, chatting about Shenmue. Let's get Shenmue 4. Let's do all we can. Keep the buzz out there, keep the buzz alive, but just let's temper our expectations to know that it's never going to be the same as the masterpiece that is Shenmue 1 and 2. So alright, we'll see you next time. Appreciate you checking this out.